Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to start a new series of videos. I've been out and stuff, but before I do that, I want to comment on a couple things and clarify things. Every one of my videos, the stuff you'll find in my videos, just like right here with all the connective and tissue and everything, they call these volcanic intrusions, but you will never find these patterns reproduced on the planet anywhere. You will never find any of the stuff that I'm showing you happening from volcanism on the planet right now. They cannot take us and show us anywhere where any of the stuff on the planet is happening in real time. Most everything they say that I'm showing in my videos happens underneath the surface of the earth and we can't see it happening. So I ask you this, if it's happening underneath the surface of the earth, then how the hell do you know it's even happening? Think about that for 1 minute. Everything I'm bringing you in my videos happened before the earth was, before human beings were even invented. Okay, this has nothing to do with volcanism. I can't show you anything volcanic here in my videos because where I live there's nothing volcanic. Okay, I have to go over to the next mountain range next to me, the Cascade Mountain Range, to find volcanoes. That's about 2.5 hours away, which I can do and I will do eventually. But it has nothing to do with where I am on the coast in this mountain range. There's no volcanoes even around me. So everything in here, this is connective tissue. You will never find these patterns that I'm bringing to you reproduced, like I just told you. And I'm going to show you something else. Okay, this is one of my videos called Land Time Forgotten. You see how all these are laying in here at the angles they're laying in, all these fibro bands like this. They will either call this a volcanic intrusion or a feeder dike. You notice how they're laying horizontal and they go up here and twist and everything? You will not find this pattern. This is a distinct pattern that you will not find in nature produced by lava anywhere of volcanism. You will never find this pattern being reproduced. We have volcanic activity going on up the yin-yang right now, and you will never find this pattern being reproduced on this planet. I'll show you something else. Okay, you see the pattern right here? This stuff laying in here, the way it's laying in, but never reproduced on the planet. You'll never find this thing being repeated. This pattern is not repeated. This is a distinct pattern that is not repeated on the planet anywhere. They would call this a feeder dike. But yet, you'll notice the lava is laying horizontal, and it twists to vertical, and it just twists around and everything. And I'll show you why I'm getting to what I'm getting ready to say, because of retention and surface retention and things like that. And they will say that, well, this happens underneath the surface and retention, and they separate like this and yada yada. Go research retention or surface retention. You'll understand what I'm talking about. But I want to show you why I'm saying what I'm saying. These patterns are distinct, absolutely distinct patterns. Okay, Columbia River basalt feeder dikes. I'm going to show you something here. These are feeder dikes. You see the split up the center right here, and the fibrils run that way and that way. This is a tendon fibril, okay? This is not a feeder dike. You see this distinct pattern again like I have on the coast? This pattern is not reproduced on the planet with volcanism anywhere. Okay, do you see this distinct pattern here? Just like the stuff I just showed you in my video. They say it, splits in the center and cools this way. Of course, we have no working models for it anywhere on the planet, and we never will have because this is not from volcanic. Okay, that's why we find no working models. There's no geologist ever born that's ever walked this planet that's ever seen these formed. They've never seen these cooling. They've never seen basalt tubes cooling, columnars cooling, or nothing, because it doesn't happen that way. This is biological. It's not volcanic, or we have them coming out of our yin-yangs because we have so much volcanic activity going on. It's over the top right now. Yet you see none of these distinct patterns being formed anywhere in lava fields, in feeder dikes that they have right now. None of these patterns are formed. They're distinct patterns that only happened one time because it's biological. Before we were even invented, this stuff was here. Okay, these are basalt columnars north of me in Washington. I have them here in one of my videos too. They're not too far from my house, but not to this extent because the body part doesn't call for them being that big where I'm at right now, or this extensive. But what I'm getting at is they say these are formed the way they're formed and everything, through volcanism and all that. We have so much volcanic activity going on the planet right now. We should at least be finding some of these cooling somewhere, because they say that they take between 50 and 100 years for these to cool. Okay, if it took that long, how do you know that? Are you seeing them cooling? No. It's their science again. These are underneath the surface of the earth. Being formed, we can never see them, of course. And so I've been asking, geologist after geologist, I go through this every single time with them. You know what they link me to every time when I say, show me a working model for any of this on the planet? I'm going to show you what they link me to in just a second. But first I want to show you how they say that these are cooled. Through retention, like a mud puddle dries. You know how a mud puddle dries and cracks and they surface retention? That's how they say these cool. You notice how they're all vertical and everything? Well, the first video I just showed you where all those things were laying horizontal, you tell me how surface retention works with the stuff laying horizontal and not lying vertical like this, because the gravity and the weight of the stuff itself would smash it down on top of itself. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Those are not caused from surface retention. None of this is caused from retention, okay? You get in here and I'll show you some of this here. First of all, this is a side view of it. You notice how it's laying horizontal? It's not laying vertical like those columnars. So you tell me how surface retention works that way with everything laying horizontal. You know what I'm saying? This stuff is laying horizontal when you stand on top of it. Let me show you here. I gotta get a hand free. Okay, I showed you the side view. Now look how it's all laying in here like noodles, okay? Just rows and rows of that stuff. It's horizontal. It's not standing vertical like those columnars I just showed you. So you tell me how surface retention would make that dry that way and cool. It wouldn't. Gravity alone, these things are, this stuff is so heavy, gravity alone would flatten it out. Think about it for a minute. Look how these are stacked in there. They're broken up, but they're just, you know, they're like, you know what I'm saying. No, you don't really, probably. Okay, here's a better angle. See how they're laying in here? Like that, horizontal. I showed you the side view. This is how they lay in there. So surface or retention would never work in that situation, in my opinion. Here they are, you know, forming here. Look how they're just laying in there like cordwood. Now I don't understand any way how surface retention or how retention can make these laying horizontal do what they claim the ones vertical are doing, the way they're cooling. Okay. These are tendon fibrils. They call them basalt columns, but these are close to where I live, and I got them in one of my videos. These are tendon fibrils. And I keep asking, you know, geologists, show me a working model of these where they're formed and cooling on the planet, because you say they take 50, 100 years. I'm only 59 years old. We've got to have some of these cooling somewhere. We can see them, right? Absolutely, I'd say, if that's happening and it's volcanic. But you know what they show me every time? Let me show you what every geologist, every single one of them send me. When I tell them I want to see a working model, give me a picture of these. I'll show you what they show me. This is what they give me every single time. So now I download it so I have it and I can give it back. They give you this where, you know, they're all laying and how long they are. A map of them is what they give you. Now you tell me how this looks like that. You tell me how that looks like that. Tell me how that looks like this stuff. You see what I'm saying? They always come back with pictures or CGI of their renditions where they can never give me a working model. They can never show me none of this stuff. None of it. Absolutely none of it. So tell me how that looks like any of that. Every time I ask for an example, they can't give me nothing. Absolutely nothing of any of a working model of any of my videos, okay? Nothing in volcanism, so there. That's my evidence. If this is all volcanic of everything I've shown you, you should be at least give me a working model, but you can't. This is connective tissue. You will find no volcanic intrusions anywhere on the planet forming these distinct patterns. These are distinct patterns. Okay? I understand that, you know, a lot of science isn't understandable right here because how could molecules work and stuff. This is beyond the realm of human science, okay? There's things that we just don't understand. There's some of this I can't explain because it was here before we were even created. It has to do with creation before the earth and the planets and all that were even here. So I have no idea how God did it. You see, that's the main thing right here. Geology is man's way of explaining how we got here without God. It's man saying, hey, God didn't do all this. Let me show you how it happened. It all happened through evolution of rocks and this and that. It wasn't God. I can explain how it happened. God wasn't even involved. This is what happened. See, we don't have a God. See, I can show you how it happened. We don't have a God. That's what geology is about. Geology itself is actually a religion. You have its followers. You have a belief system. I mean, how is it not different than any religion? They have books. They have a belief system. Same thing. Have followers. Same thing. So geologists hate it when I say that. Yeah, you got a religion going on. But anyway, they do. Their own religion. But they have no God other than themselves. See, we're trying to explain things with man's science in this, and we can't because it's beyond our comprehension. We're getting into the supernatural, and when you get into supernatural, geology's brain freezes up. It locks up. You know, we have ancient texts that talk about flying crafts and stuff. Now we got the military with Tic Tac coming out, all these UFOs and stuff, and saying, hey, guess what? They're real, and they got technology way beyond us. They come from 80,000 feet down to the surface and come to a dead stop and they're flying out to the bottom. So how's that happening? Because it's things we don't understand. You know what? Sumerian text, the Lost Book of Enki, talks about they had off-planet aircraft. Now we're seeing they have off-planet aircraft. So do a little bit of thinking. Ancient texts aren't that wrong. In fact, they're probably not wrong at all. Just with the age of reasoning and man had to reason away everything, oh, that's all foo-foo. It's not true. Well, guess what? It's going to bite us in the butt because it is true. Sorry about that. I got a little worked up there. Some of these geologists have really been ticking me off lately because they can't come up with answers other than show me these ridiculous pictures and say, oh, it's just there, trust us, it's underneath the surface. You've never seen it, but you're telling us it's underneath the surface and we have to believe you, but you've never seen it yourself. No geologist has ever seen any of this stuff that I'm showing you in real time. They have never seen it. They've never seen basalt tubes cooling. They've never seen these volcanic intrusions forming the way they're formed here. None of this stuff is formed on the planet now that we're seeing with volcanism. We don't have any evidence of it whatsoever. This here is tissue. That's connective tissue. This is meat, okay, flesh. And so it is on this side. I've been showing you these pockets, and they're all tied into little pockets because they're fibrils. So I'm going to get going on this video. I'm going to stop right there, you know. Just remember, everything in my videos cannot be reproduced and recreated on the planet. You see none of this stuff that I have being recreated. None of these distinct patterns. And these are distinct patterns, and they're not being recreated. Okay, this is going to drop down into a connective tissue piece. I'm going to show you something here. There's connective tissue right there. You can see the flesh is right here, and I'm coming down into, there's flesh on this side right here. This is not a volcanic intrusion. You look at this pattern, you will not find this pattern being recreated, reproduced on the planet anywhere.